talk about fighting for jobs. That's something I'm going to introduce to you. Now, the Economic Fighters League says it has finalized arrangements with the Ghana Police Service for its first and historic fight for jobs procession on September 4. Ernesto Yeboah likes to be addressed as the commander-in-chief of that group. He joins me in the studio with more on this. Ernesto, it's good to see you. The last time I saw you, you were struggling with the police at Parliament House. How did that end for you, by the way? Did you go home feeling fulfilled, or did you go home feeling beaten?
Well, we made our point.
You made your point.
I think that's what matters.
That's what matters for you. Okay, so what is Fight for Jobs? What is it about?
Well, thank you very much once again, Gifty, and good afternoon to your wonderful viewers. We have almost suspected that the most pressing issue of our time, and when I say I'm talking about my generation, is probably that of jobs. Many young people you meet would tell you that they really want to work, but there is no job. But we want to test this. The only statistics that it's probably a bit credible is that of the IMF World Bank. That tells us that about 48% of young people in this country are unemployed. Sometimes when our leaders read some of these statistics, I'm sure it disempowers them in several respects. And so,
because I wanted to interrupt you briefly by asking whether or not you have the statistics, because it's something that none of us seem to have. Government comes with figures. Some people challenge those figures. So I'm wondering, based on, since you are going on this procession, you must have had some sort of statistics, do you?
Well, so this is a way of trying to help an immobilized government, out, especially as the organization that seems to be dictating the terms of development of our country is the IMF, rather than we the people. We want to take that from them by announcing and calling on to the street, because we are talking about young people who don't lack energy, who don't lack enthusiasm, who don't lack vibrancy.
No, who are lazy.
Absolutely. And we are simply saying that if you need a job, then make yourself available, because we are going to take their details and make it available to the policymakers.
Okay, so help me understand this. You're calling out to young people who say they are unemployed, or young people who need jobs, to come and go on a procession with the Economic Fighters League.
Absolutely. And it's not just the Economic Fighters League. We have many organizations joining us. We have CEPSA Africa, an organization that is well established here in Ghana and in Kenya as well. We have the Ghana Youth Movement also joining us, and many other groups I can't mention on the top of my head.
Take us through the day, 4th September. What is going to happen? Now,
we are not angry. This is supposed to be a national exercise that is to aid in our development process. We have a leader in our president saying that, look, Ghana beyond aid is his vision. For Ghana to be beyond aid, you need a self-determined citizen. You need a country which citizens own its data, which citizens' data is not controlled and owned by a foreign organization. So we want to help in this respect. Now, we are doing it all across the country. In Accra, let's say we call it out, on September 4th, and only 2 people come. We are simply going to tell the leader of this country that only 2 people need a job in Greater Accra. You see, and it would help shape government policy on this one district, one factory. It is not every district that needs a factory. It is not every region that necessarily needs job. So this is our way of trying to shape, how do you call it, government policy. It's our contribution to national development. And I want every young person watching and listening, whether you have a formal education or not, to be interested in this, because this is a time that you have to show. It's like you go to the church and the pastor says that all those of you who wet your bed, get up and come and let's pray for you. And then you are sitting down when you know very well that you wet your bed at night. So we want young people to feel no shame. There's nothing to be ashamed of for being unemployed and saying that I want a job. The only time you have to be ashamed probably is when you don't want to work and yet you are capable of working.
When you're just being lazy, I guess you're trying to say. So on that day, people are supposed to meet your team where?
At the Kwame Nkrumah Circle or Brass Spot. It's starting 6 a.m. sharp. Once you come, try as much as possible and identify yourself in a red apparel, black apparel, or even yellow. Something that can easily identify.
Why yellow though?
We're a land of gold.
Oh, I see.
So, I mean, and we want to show that we are not angry. We are not blaming anybody. We are simply out there for solutions.
Okay. You're just showing yourself to say, look,
Absolutely.
we are the ones who don't have a job. But you don't have a job too, right? So you need a job.
Oh, I have a job.
You have a job,
but,
okay.
I don't have to have a job or not to have a job to fight.
I just wanted to be sure because you said that if two people show up, then those two people, you present it to government as just those two needing jobs.
Two people needing jobs.
Okay.
You see, when the other organizations like GII comes up with their corruption perception index, nobody, I mean, challenges them because they have their own methodology. This is our methodology in carrying out this research.
No problem at all. So the date is 4th of September, and the venue is Obra Sport, and you have to be there at 6 a.m. saying that if you're wearing black or red, it sort of identifies you so they can know that you're with us and you want to tell the president that you don't have a job and that you need one. You can also wear yellow, he says. Are there any social media platforms that they can maybe build up this team there?
Our social media page is Fighters. You just type Fighters and it would be there.
Okay.
So that's basically it. I don't know if I can even put my number.
I mean, I'll have you speak to our viewers, Ernesto. Finally, speak to our viewers and tell them why you think this is important. This is an important cause. For which reason they should join you at the Obra Sports?
Well, young people, this is a generational class action. Our forefathers had their own battles to fight. They came together, converged, and fought those battles. The battle for Ghana's independence was a generational fight. We had the Kwesi Prats and Kweku Bakos and Rollins in the streets also screaming, let the blood flow. Yes, those were mistakes they might have committed in the past. But yes, I mean, that was a generational fight. Today, in our time, we have to fight for economic freedom, once political freedom has been fought for. So our coming together is to answer some of these questions. How many of us can afford a decent place of accommodation? How many of us have a decent job? How many of us could afford to pay the cost of our education without having to beg a family member, a friend, or a big man or a big woman sitting somewhere? How many of us can say that this year I am getting married? So we have our own peculiar problems. And that is why we are saying that let us come together, hold hands, and fight together. We want to see you there on September 4th in order to make that loud and bold statement to our leadership. We are not angry, but we are simply seeking to have a problem resolved.
Simply seeking to have a problem resolved on 4th September. If you believe in this cause, they're asking you to join them at the Obra Sports. It is at 6 a.m. Ernesto, thank you for coming. Ernesto is the Commander-in-Chief of the... why Commander-in-Chief, though?
Well, it's a battle.
Oh,
we have a battle, and therefore it needs the astuteness of a military man or a soldier in order to be able to...
Okay. Well, he likes to be described as the Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Fighters League, and they are going on a procession to ask for jobs. And still, thanks for coming. I wish you all the best with that procession. Now.